Scientists have argued about it for decades. Is greatness inherited? Can a parent pass down not just their looks, not just their height, but their genius? Research tells us that elite athletes are more than 2 times more likely to have a father who competed in sport at a serious level. Genetics lay the blueprint. Muscle composition, oxygen capacity, fast twitch fibers, coordination. But growing up with a parent who played the game changes everything else too. The access, the mentality, the knowledge of what it takes. As one researcher put it, you can have a good hand or a bad hand, but you can still win with a bad hand and lose with a good one. It depends on how you play the game. It is summer 2026, 104 matches, 48 nations. And on the Norwegian team, 4 players who may be the most compelling answer to that question the sport has ever produced. Erling Haaland, Martin Ødegaard, Alexander Sørloth, Kristian Thorstvedt, all sons of professional Norwegian footballers, all at their first World Cup, all playing in the same country where their fathers played their own World Cup, 32 years apart. That is not a coincidence. That is a legacy. This is their story, and the story of the fathers who built them. On June 23, 1994, at Giant Stadium in New Jersey, Norway faced Italy at the World Cup. Alf-Inge Haaland played every minute and picked up a yellow card. Goran Sorloth featured for Norway at that tournament. Erik Thorstvedt stood between the posts as Norway's goalkeeper when Dino Baggio's strike settled the match. Norway went out in the group stage, finishing with 4 points and just 1 goal scored. It was not enough. They flew home, they had families, they raised sons. And 32 years later, those sons came back to the United States to finish what their fathers started. Erling Braut Haaland was born in 2000 in Leeds, England. Not because his parents chose England, but because his father was already there playing for Leeds United in the Premier League. Football was never a choice in this family. It was the air they breathed. Alf-Inge Haaland, known to everyone as Alfie, spent a decade in English football. Nottingham Forest, Leeds United, Manchester City, 34 caps for Norway. He knew what it meant to wear that shirt. He also knew how it felt when it was taken from you. In April 2001, Roy Keane launched a tackle that ended Alfie Haaland's career. Alfie was 30 years old. He never played at the top level again. He returned to Norway, settled in Bryne, and turned his attention to his son. But Alfie was only half of the equation. Erling's mother, Gry Merita Braut, was a national heptathlon champion, a 7-event track and field athlete who competed at the highest level in Norway. Speed, power, endurance, coordination, every physical attribute a striker could need. He didn't just inherit one athletic bloodline, he inherited 2. He chose to carry both names on his Norway shirt. Braut Haaland. A quiet acknowledgement that this wasn't one parent's story. It was 2. 400 kilometers north in the city of Drammen, a different family was building a different footballer. Martin Ødegaard's father, Hans Erik, played professionally in the Norwegian top division for over a decade, making 241 appearances for Strømsgodset alone. A box-to-box, hard-working, battling midfielder. Martin has said, "I went to his games to watch him play from an early age, and then he was also the coach of my team. I'd say he was probably the reason why I started playing football." When it came time to choose a youth academy, Martin joined Strømsgodset, his father's club. His mother's side of the family was track and field and handball. Elite sport again on both sides. In Trondheim, Alexander Sørloth grew up in the shadow of Rosenborg's famous stadium. His father Goran had scored 74 goals in 174 games for that club. A Norwegian icon. A striker who wore the national shirt 55 times and scored 15 international goals. Alexander began at Strindheim, his father's first club, then moved to Rosenborg, his father's greatest club. Step for step, boot for boot, following footsteps that had already been worn deep into the grass. And then there is Kristian Thorstvedt. His father, Erik, is one of the most celebrated Norwegian footballers of all time. 97 caps, nearly 15 years as Norway's first-choice goalkeeper. Football Association Cup winner with Tottenham Hotspur in 1991. The first Norwegian to lift that trophy. Erik Thorstvedt was the goalkeeper on that June day in 1994 when Norway faced Italy at the World Cup. He kept them in the game. It wasn't enough. Now his son Kristian, a midfielder, a different position, a different era, has come back to the United States to play the tournament his father never got beyond the group stage of. 4 fathers, 4 sons, 1 nation, 1 tournament, 32 years later. So what does science say about all of this? Research is clear that athletic ability has a significant genetic component. But the scientists are equally clear that genes alone do not explain it. Environment matters just as much. Growing up watching your father train, understanding sacrifice before you can spell it, knowing what the shirt means because you saw what it cost someone you love, that is not something you can manufacture. It is passed down. By 2022, Erling Haaland had signed for Manchester City, the same club where his father's career was destroyed. In his first Bundesliga season at Borussia Dortmund, he had scored 7 goals in his first 3 matches alone, a hat-trick on debut, then braces in each of the next 2 games. A record that still stands. At Manchester City, in his first Premier League season, he scored 36 goals, another record. He has since scored 60 international goals in 53 appearances. The greatest Norwegian footballer in history, by almost any measure. Ødegaard became captain of Arsenal and captain of Norway. Sørloth became one of La Liga's most feared strikers at Atletico Madrid. Thorstvedt established himself as a key midfielder in Serie A with Sassuolo. 4 different paths, 4 different clubs, 4 different countries, all leading to the same destination. Norway had not qualified for a World Cup since 1998. 28 years of absence. Haaland changed that. In qualifying for 2026, he scored 16 goals in 8 matches, the most of any player across all of global qualifying. Norway didn't just qualify, they announced themselves. And on June 16, 2026, they ran onto a pitch in Foxborough, Massachusetts, the same country where their fathers had played 32 years before and beat Iraq 4-1. Haaland scored twice. Sørloth started beside him. Thorstvedt came off the bench. Ødegaard pulled the strings. The sons had come home. Alf-Inge Haaland watched from the stands. Goran Sorloth watched too. Erik Thorstvedt, the man who stood in goal at that 1994 World Cup on this same soil, watched his son play in the same tournament, on the same continent, a generation on. So is greatness inherited? The science says probably, partly yes. But watching this Norwegian team, watching what 4 fathers sacrificed, what 4 mothers built, what 4 sons became, maybe the more honest answer is this: greatness isn't just inherited, it is passed down. Deliberately, painfully, lovingly, one generation at a time. They were built for this, 32 years in the making. And now the world watches. If you found this story as remarkable as we did, subscribe for more documentaries like this one.